Have you ever heard about zombie deer? It might sound like a creature from a horror movie, but it's a genuine phenomenon in the natural world. Let's dip our toes into the realm of the eerie but true and discuss the so-called zombie deer. This isn't some myth or folklore, it's a real-life condition that affects deer, known scientifically as chronic wasting disease or CWD for short. And no, they don't crave brains, but their condition is equally fascinating and concerning. So what turns a normal deer into a so-called zombie? The culprit is a disease named chronic wasting disease, or CWD. This malady isn't your typical sickness. It's not caused by bacteria or a virus, but by something much more insidious: prions. Prions are proteins that have folded incorrectly, and these misfolded proteins cause a domino effect, leading to more and more proteins folding the wrong way. Prions are particularly nasty because they're resilient. They can survive in the environment for years, waiting to infect their next victim. And when they do, they wreak havoc on the brain. Chronic wasting disease is a type of prion disease, much like mad cow disease in cattle, or Creutzfeldt-Jakob in humans. In deer, chronic wasting disease leads to a slow, progressive degeneration of the brain. This degeneration results in a range of symptoms that give rise to the zombie moniker. Infected deer may exhibit drastic weight loss, earning them the wasting part of the disease's name. They may stumble around, showing a lack of coordination and a loss of their natural agility. Drooling and excessive thirst are also common signs, as is a vacant stare, as if the deer is lost in its own world. It's this vacant stare, combined with the stumbling and drastic weight loss, that leads people to refer to these poor creatures as zombie deer. It's a term that captures the public's imagination, but it's also a term that highlights the seriousness of the disease. These deer aren't just sick, they're undergoing a slow, painful decline. It's important to note that while CWD can cause deer to look like something out of a horror movie, they're not dangerous in the way that Hollywood zombies are. They won't chase you down or try to eat your brains. Instead, they're victims of a disease that robs them of their vitality, their health, and ultimately, their lives. So, while they don't transform into the Hollywood version of zombies, the effects are still devastating. Now that we know what causes deer to turn into zombies, let's delve into how this disease spreads and the impact it has. Chronic wasting disease, or CWD, is highly contagious among deer. It spreads primarily through bodily fluids such as saliva, blood, urine, and feces. When an infected deer interacts with a healthy one, the disease easily passes on. But that's not the only way CWD spreads. The disease is so resilient that it can survive in the environment for years, even after the infected deer has long since passed. This means the soil, the plants, the very air a deer breathes can be a vector for transmission. The impact of this disease on deer populations is profound. Deer with CWD suffer from weight loss, abnormal behavior, and eventually death. As the disease spreads, deer populations dwindle, and the effects ripple through the ecosystem. Predators lose a key source of food, plants overgrow due to lack of grazing, and biodiversity suffers as a result. There's also a concern that CWD could potentially jump species like mad cow disease did in the 90s. This could have devastating consequences, not only for wildlife but also for livestock and potentially humans. It's clear that CWD is not just a problem for deer, but for the entire ecosystem they inhabit. Having heard about this disease, an important question arises: can humans get infected by CWD? This is indeed a critical query, one that scientists have been grappling with for some time. The current consensus, based on our understanding of the disease, is that chronic wasting disease has not shown the ability to cross the species barrier to infect humans. However, this doesn't mean we should become complacent. As we've seen with other diseases, the potential for a leap between species cannot be completely ruled out. Therefore, caution is strongly advised, particularly when it comes to handling or consuming deer from areas known to have cases of CWD. It's a sobering reminder of how interconnected we all are, humans, animals, and the environment. While the zombie apocalypse remains a fiction, the reality of CWD reminds us of the importance of understanding and protecting our natural world.